So the June 26th episode of Raw kicked off with Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley trying to cut a promo. Dom, of course, couldn't even speak because of all the boos that were coming in. So eventually, yeah, Dom and Rhea, they were interrupted by Cody Rhodes. And Cody was challenging Dom to come in the ring and have a fight with him. But Dom was not having it. He did at one point walk up to the ring apron after he had already left. Was heading up the ramp, and then he stepped back down again. Later on, however, we see Dom backstage with Rhea Ripley, and they ask Adam Pearce for a match. Later tonight, Dom says he wants to show Cody what he can do. The first match of the night was Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ricochet, and Bronson Reed was at ringside. Now, I actually thought, okay, Bronson Reed at some point is going to get involved. He's going to attack both men. It'll probably be a no contest. But no, sure, Bronson Reed was attacked by both Ricochet and Shinsuke Nakamura while he was at ringside. But the ref then kicked him out, and he actually complied, so it's not like he went back in the ring and tried to take revenge. So I think this is really interesting because now it probably means that Bronson Reed's going to show up at Money in the Bank and maybe end up costing Shinsuke Nakamura and Ricochet the match. Maybe he'll come out and attack both men. Either way, Ricochet actually won. He beat Shinsuke clean, so that was interesting to have this mid-card match with these two talented mid-carders and actually have a proper winner on free TV, right, on Raw, not necessarily even on pay-per-view. We then got a backstage segment. Actually, before that, a clip was shown from earlier in the day where Matt Riddle was challenging for the Intercontinental title, and so then he had a backstage interview about the clip from earlier, and he was once again reiterating his challenge, and then Ludwig Kaiser showed up, and then Matt Riddle started attacking him, and as they were brawling, Gunther came in and attacked Matt Riddle. Then Imperium got the upper hand, and Gunther said challenge accepted. So we now have an Intercontinental title match at Money in the Bank, Gunther defending his title against Matt Riddle. We then had a singles match with Raquel Rodriguez accompanied by Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey accompanied by Shayna Baszler. So now we know that the new unified tag team titles are called the Undisputed Women's Tag Team Championships, and of course this Saturday at Money in the Bank, Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan will take on Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler for the titles. Rousey obviously beats Raquel here. No way they're going to make Rousey lose on a random episode of Raw. We then had a great promo package of Finn Balor and his new dark side that he's going to bring with him when he challenges Seth Rollins for the world title. This actually made me excited for Finn Balor again. You know, for a long time since Finn Balor joined the main roster, he just never had that deeply personal feud, and I felt I couldn't emotionally invest in him. He was just being bounced around from main event to mid card, and he was just basically an upper mid carder. At least that's how he was booked. Now he's involved in all these deeply personal feuds, right? His feud with Edge was for 3/4 of a year long. It was a blood feud. Now he's having this deeply personal feud with Seth Rollins, and it really adds the Finn Balor character. I'm really loving where this is going. This is the best Finn Balor has been since he's been in the WWE. Seth Rollins then came out to cut a promo about everything that's been happening lately, being attacked by Balor, and then the upcoming match. Balor then came in the ring with a steel chair to attack Rollins. Carmelo Hayes was at ringside, so at one point when Balor and Rollins were brawling on the outside, and Balor was taking a chair to use against Rollins, Carmelo Hayes actually grabbed it, pulled it away. This allowed Seth Rollins to, it gave him time to come after Balor, and Balor ran away through the crowd. Of course, later on we will see a backstage interview where we realize we're going to be getting Hayes versus Balor in a singles match later that night. We then got a Tommaso Ciampa return video package shown, and then we see Tommaso Ciampa giving an interview from earlier in the day. He talks about why he returned, why he's or rather why he went after The Miz when he returned. He said while he was gone and injured, The Miz never even contacted him, so I guess he's bitter about that. Ciampa was actually cutting, I think, a decent promo, but he kept reading lines, and it was so obvious and just really horrible to look at. Can't believe the WWE just doesn't give people freedom on the mic. It would just feel so much more authentic. The Miz versus Tommaso Ciampa were next. This was a rematch from last week. As Ciampa was making his entrance, The Miz attacked attacked him. So this match basically ended up being a no contest. We then see a backstage segment where Imperium are interrupted by Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and a match is made for later that night, Gunther versus Sami Zayn one-on-one. We then get Dominic Mysterio accompanied by Rhea Ripley taking on a surprise opponent who turns out to be Akira Tozawa. Obviously, Dom wins after Rhea sort of distracts him a little bit. There's then a Money in the Bank summit for all the women who were competing in that ladder match this Saturday. Corey Graves is the guest host. Bayley keeps interrupting and talking about how she's going to win, and Io Sky even speaks Japanese at one point, I guess talking about how she's going to win. Everyone starts over talking each other at one point. Eventually, Becky Lynch attacks Trish Stratus and all hell breaks loose. Everyone's beating the crap out of each other. Io even goes and takes out everyone by jumping off the rope to everyone who's on the outside, and then Becky Lynch is the only one standing in the ring. She gets on top of a ladder, climbs up, even unhooks the white color women's Money in the Bank briefcase and poses with it. We then get Sami Zayn versus Gunther. During the match, Giovanni Vinci actually returned on crutches, and he actually used his crutches during the match when the referee was distracted. This allowed Gunther to beat Zayn clean. Or rather, it wasn't clean because, Vinci interfered. After the match, Imperium are attacking Owens and Zayn until Matt Riddle comes to make the save. So yeah, just some last-minute shenanigans between these guys. We then get Finn Balor versus the NXT champion Carmelo Hayes, obviously in a non-title match. This is just one night before Hayes defends his title against Baron Corbin on NXT. So having this match, your top champion come to Raw and lose one night before he's got a title defense, I don't see how that's good booking. It's like, what's even the point? I guess at some point they're building up to Carmelo Hayes feuding with Finn Balor maybe over the NXT title. I don't know. Finally, in the main event, Cody Rhodes faced off against Damian Priest, and Cody won, obviously. And so the match ends on a happy ending. Just a pretty average episode of Raw. Nothing special to hype up the go-home Raw for Money in the Bank. Hopefully Money in the Bank makes up for it, or at the very least, the go-home SmackDown. So let's see.